Our first guests tonight are the capital S in BYU Special Teams, place kicker Will Ferrin, big game Bill, and punter Sam Vander Haar. Not only did they make kicks, but they each pulled off a fake kick and ran for a first down. Feats like that get you on the wise guys. And we are happy to welcome both of them in. Pop the headset on, slide into there. Hey, how are you?
Doing great.
Good.
Just excited to be here.
What do you think of our setup in here?
Sweet.
Yeah, it's nice.
Yeah, and we tell did you have a hard time finding the place? Because it's
I had to go around and
we
go on the gate.
Don't say too much because for security reasons, we call it an undisclosed location Have we even said it's on the east bench of Provo?
Well, we have now.
Well,
We
it's
just
an
now
undisclosed
revealed.
location on the east bench of Provo, so we don't really tell much because
Okay.
so many VIPs come in here.
We don't need a
just like
police
you.
Had to dig the
situation.
hole and then go through the tunnels.
Yeah.
It's a nice setup, though. I do
So
like
it's
it.
pretty cool, huh?
Yeah,
Pretty
it's
cool.
All right, let's just get right into it. Describe the rush of adrenaline that you feel when you're executing a fake kick. Whether it's a fake field goal, which you did, or a fake punt, which you did. When you know you're about to get the ball and this isn't going to end up in a kick, and it's you running for your life. Sam, what's that adrenaline rush like?
Oh, it's a lot of fun, yeah. I just think that, you put a lot of time and effort into it, and then I think it all just kind of is a blur when you actually go out there in the game and do it. So I think instinct just kicks in and, yeah, just try and get the first down, really.
Because you can't go back to the sideline having got stopped.
No, yeah. Yeah, you can't be thinking, if you start thinking that way, then you might be in a bit of trouble. So, yeah, particularly with the UCF fake that we did with Will, Will and I kind of looked at each other and went, oh, no.
It's on you guys.
Well, with any fake like that, you kind of have to accept, whether or not this works, it's fine. So you go out there and you're like, well, here we go. It's whatever happens, happens. But with that fake and any fake that we do, we run through it so many times. So it's like you just go through what you've done and it's all the same. So
It's genius when it works. You guys look like superheroes.
Yeah.
But when it doesn't, it's like, oh, man.
Yeah, we were lucky we didn't have people at practice watching us do it because it was.
Did it not
was
work
rough.
a lot in practice?
the first few weeks, it almost never worked. Ball's rolling back and I'm chasing it backwards and diving on it.
No.
And then, it was a Wyoming week that we installed it. So that was week
Three?
three.
Three. Yeah, week 3.
And then we didn't run it till UCF, so there's a lot of time.
Did you know, with your fake punt, is that Baylor?
Yes,
was
sir,
a fake punt, and the UCF game was the fake field goal, right?
Yeah.
So you practiced it all year long. Did every game you go into the game? Hey, are we going to do this week or not? And you didn't know, or did you know? Hey, we're running this thing today against Baylor. Did you know this is the week we're gonna run this fake field goal thing?
So different fakes are designed to take advantage of different things that other teams do. So that fake was because they brought in a hard edge pressure. So I wouldn't say that I knew that week that we were going to run the fake, but I knew that UCF brought a hard edge pressure and that they would be a team that would be vulnerable for that fake.
Because they're going for the block, right?
Yeah, so there's a few fakes that we have throughout the year that are for different things, whether they're bringing it off the edge or they are overloading a side or whatever it is. So we have different fakes ready for different types of teams. So we had an idea that it could be that game, but we didn't know for sure until it was called.
How about your? Did you think? Okay, did you know this? We're going to do this week. We're going to do this against these guys.
Yeah, with the punt fake we did, it was a lot more. Most teams showed that look where we could do it, so it was kind of called for each game. But obviously we punted pretty infrequently, so sometimes it was called and then we check out of it. So there was probably 3 times where we went out going to do it, and then Batty would check out of it.
But you leave it up to Tyler to decide?
Yeah.
That's
it was,
a lot on
and it was
Tyler.
funny.
Wow,
that's
the
a
bright
lot.
Tyler Batty.
And it was funny because we would go in, on 3rd down, and Pop would bring us in, and Tyler would be like, "Oh, let's run it every single punt," and I'm like, "I'm down, let's do it." And then, they called it for the Baylor one, and he was actually going to check out of it because the look wasn't perfect to run it, whereas the UCF one, it was absolutely perfect to be able to do it. And then Batty just called it in, and I was like, "All right, let's run it." So.
This is awesome. This would be like if Keith Urban was here talking football.
Exactly.
We love that.
One other thing I want, because there's those really cool plays that you practice all year long, you don't get a chance. But then there's the thing that you do all the time. Like you're punting all the time, and you're going through different situations. You're kicking extra points and field goals all the time, every day in practice, and you're doing it regularly in the games. But what's it like from a mental perspective? We've talked to you about, after you made the Utah one, to step up and you go, oh, this one might be just a little bit more important than anyone I've had. How do you manage that mentally? And then I want to ask you about a certain kind of punt, but let's start with Will.
Yeah.
How do you manage that mentally because some kicks mean a little bit more than others. It's not just routine. Do you go through anything differently, or how do you do that?
I wouldn't say I go through anything differently. With kicking, it's nice that I run the one play. I run the exact same play every single time. It does take a lot of preparation. Since I got to BYU, I've been meeting with mental performance coaches regularly. And a lot of that is just more like understanding yourself better, understanding my process, understanding what makes me tick, what makes me nervous, what makes me feel good, what makes me kick at my best, what types of things might get in the way of my process or my thought patterns. And I've found that I'm a guy where I miss kicks a lot of the time when I get too low. So there's people where they need to like hype themselves up, and there's people that need to like calm themselves down before a big moment. And I'm a guy that's probably different than a lot of kickers where I'm like, if I get too low, if I'm like, oh, this kick doesn't matter very much, I'll miss those kicks sometimes. And so I put a lot of work into those, where if I have to hype myself up a little bit or just realize the importance of a kick, I do a lot better in those situations. So then I learn that, and then from that I develop a plan for that. So like right now it's, how can I take a 25, a 30-yard field goal and approach it as if it's a 55, 60-yard field goal? So it's the same whether it's PAT or a 60-yarder. Sometimes different things will make you think of one kick different than another, but we're training to think of all the kicks the exact same way, no matter the situation.
So 17 kicks ago, you were feeling low, and then you've made the next 16.
Yeah.
That's a good
Does
streak.
Does Sam help get you up? Does he help you stay up for the moment? Is he part of that process?
Sam, not really.
Come on, Sam.
Sam.
Jeez, that's rough.
Sam and I just keep it light on the sideline. Like, my process doesn't really start until we run on the field. So people like see the sideline videos of us smiling or whatever, and it's like, that's not something we're really intentionally trying to do. We're not trying to smile and laugh and joke on the sideline. We're just hanging out until we're called on, and then when we're called on, then I have my process that I go into. So kickers, a lot of the time, they evaluate themselves too much, and they're on the sideline and they're like, oh, am I nervous? Am I in my head? Am I whatever? And with me, me and Sam just hang out and keep it light like we do at practice every day. And he's good at that. He's always joking with me on the sideline, which is helpful. So
Keeping it light. So my question for you, Sam, like, to me, the punt I get most nervous about is when you've got a short working area, so the ball's on the 2-yard line, on your own 2-yard line, and now your heels are on the back of the end zone. It's not your normal distance for the snap. And it's a big game, it's a big moment. Like you're behind, or it's a close game, and somehow you've got to get it out of there. That's the one that makes me the most nervous watching you.
Yeah, for sure.
Is that the one that makes you the most nervous? And how do you approach that mentally as you get ready for that punt?
Yeah, I think that scenario was probably the most relevant in the Utah game. I think we had two in the back of the end zone, sort of towards the end of the game. I don't really treat any punt differently based on where I am. I think that I try, like, I guess kind of like what Wills talks about, with like a neutral mindset. Like I sort of go in there and if I think of the situation that we're in, I feel like that's more detrimental to me than if I just go out and kick. So I don't know. I try and be as clear as I can when I punt. The less I can think about it, or I guess the less I can care about it, the better I typically would go out and punt. So, yeah, that's probably my mental process going into it.
Our live stream has Cougar fans from all over the world.
Oh, yeah,
on
they got
board.
great questions, too.
Mark says, is it helpful for kickers to have a stash?
I've been following in the Will Ferrin trend with the stash. So
he started it? Is
yeah,
that what you're saying?
I rolled into BYU and Will had this already. So I was like, all right, well, I guess I better.
Paul Lacey asks Sam, he says, what's more violent, Aussie rules or American gridiron football? More violent.
I think the hits are similar. Just the difference with Aussie rules is that you don't have any like protective gear, so you don't have any pads or helmet. So I think the hits in American football are probably a little more erratic, just because you can run in with your head. Well, you shouldn't, but you have the helmet
You're not
on.
supposed to, but you do, right?
Yeah. Whereas with Aussie rules, if you do that, you're either getting knocked out or getting your head cracked open or something, because obviously there's no helmet. So like that hit that Tanner Wall did on I think it was Jimmy Horn in the Colorado game, like that got me going. I watched that like 20 times. That's very much like that's like an Aussie rules hit like that you would see. But if he didn't have a back pad on, he probably would have been in a bit of trouble. So that was sort of similar to an Aussie rules hit you would see.
Yeah.
Well, Sam, you started at Pitt, and Will, you started at Boise State. So having started somewhere else and come here, what has that made the BYU experience so far for you? What's it been like?
It's been awesome. I think what makes me and Sam different is I grew up here and I grew up a BYU fan. Yeah. My dad went to BYU. I had 3 siblings go to BYU, and it was interesting. I think the more interesting thing is seeing BYU from the other angle, seeing it from Boise State and coming down and playing at LaVell Edwards Stadium, or playing BYU on the blue in Boise, right. And we lose and the whole stadium's chanting BYU and we're all frustrated. But it's cool. It's cool coming down here, feeling the support from the fans. BYU fans really are a unique group, and I think we get a lot more support than other teams do, and we feel that. In the program itself, it's a great time to be at BYU. There's so many resources available to us in every single aspect of our game. So there's not really much else that you could want that isn't provided to us at BYU, so it's been cool.
What about you?
Yeah, no, it's been an awesome experience to transfer in. I guess I didn't really know that there was different types of programs. I guess like my experience at Pitt, I just thought that every football program was probably pretty similar in terms of the way they, go about things, coaching, the camaraderie, things like that. But BYU is distinctly different, I think, and that's probably largely due to like the church and the way that Kalani coaches and things like that. So, yeah, I love it. It definitely suits me being a little bit older, and like even Will's a little bit older, and I just think that it's a nice environment to be able to be successful.
You guys are a little older, and yet you're right about the same age as everyone else.
Yeah. So, hey, place kicker Will Ferrin and punter Sam Vander Haar are with us here on the Wise Guys, presented by Brady Plus and distributed by the Deseret News. Brenda, my wife always says, you just need to call him Big Game Bill, because that's what his name is. It's no longer Will, it's Big Game Bill. So, his reliability on making kicks, so 16 consecutive field goals to end the season, 54 and 51 yarders in the bowl game, 41 of 41 on point afters. I mean, it seems like it's automatic out there. You're the holder for all that. So I'm going to ask you about Will. Like, what makes him so reliable? As you look at him, what is it about his game that allows him to be that consistent and that reliable in the kicking game?
I would say probably the preparation. I would say that, I've told this to Will as well, that he's incredibly meticulous. And I think for me, like, I like that because it allows my job a little bit more simple in what I need to do and what he wants. I think as a holder, you want your kicker to be a little bit maybe harder on you, just because it makes you better in a game, because it's a lot more specific and process driven. So, yeah, when we go out in a game, it almost feels, it's probably easier than practice, I would say, because we've done it over and over again. It's a bit cliche because everyone always says that. But yeah, that's probably what makes Will probably so good. And I think that you can't, as Will was saying, you can't get too high or too low or too nervous. And I think that that's probably what separates him. On that kick to beat the Utes, which will live in infamy. So you got the ball down on the field, you kick it. Do you sense everyone's standing up? I don't know if you can even see where that ball is going. What was your vantage point of his big kick to beat the Utes? Well, it's funny. I think I said this to Will and Coach Pop and pretty much everyone else on the sideline, that as soon as I put the ball down, I knew it was in. I just it's funny. You have this feeling like when the operation goes right, I know that if Dalton at the time and myself do our job, that it's more than likely going to be in. And as soon as Will's foot hit the ball, I was like, yeah, we're good. I celebrated really early, actually. You couldn't really see it in the cameras, but I was getting around Will pretty early. So does he want the laces straight forward? How does he want the laces? And how does he want the ball? Does he want it tilted a little bit, or does he want it straight up and down? Yeah, every kicker does want it, obviously straight. I guess the lace is perfectly straight, but I think what was cool about our operation is that I sort of began to like I began to know like particular parts on the field, the way to position my body to make the kick easier for him visually, and then also like the tilt, like if we're at a certain distance or if the wind's doing a certain thing, I would tilt the ball a certain way to counterbalance that, so it made the kick a lot easier for him. At least that's
all in like a fraction of a
That's like
second.
crazy. Like that's like
Yeah.
so particular, and you wonder why these guys are so good. Now I want to ask you about Sam a little
Yeah.
bit. So, average 42.8 yards a punt, 70-yarder against Central Florida. No punts blocked, which is a remarkable feat, right? What is it that makes him so effective? I know you're not out there on the field when he's out there punting, but you guys work together all the time in practice, and so you watch this from the closest vantage point of maybe anyone. What makes him so special?
I think most of the stuff you were saying about me also applies towards him. He prepares really well. I think that's something that our group in general takes a lot of pride in, is just preparation. All the stuff he talks about with holding, a year ago right now, that's what we were working on, is we're working on hitting his spot, we're working on getting a tilt, and all those different things that it feels like we don't play forever, but that's the preparation that goes into it. And he's the same way with punting. Just this morning, he's talking about those backed up punts. He's hitting those in the indoor this morning. He's hitting all these different styles of punts. And the preparation is what is key to just being consistent. Sam's big thing is that he's consistent, that he can hit the same ball over and over and over and over again and be reliable in that. And that's a product of preparation. So I think that's probably the biggest piece.
So when you hit that 70-yarder against UCF, you were like, oh yeah, I got into this one? Or did it all feel the same?
Yeah, a little bit. Because so the first punt we had, it was against Baylor, and that returner was incredibly dangerous. And we knew going into that game that he was obviously very good. And the first punt I hit was nice, but it was just a little inside to probably where I needed it to be, just based on any return of like 20 yards or something. And then I came off, and K-Pop came up to me, and he's like, let's do like a cross-field kick just to try and like, I guess, make him misjudge the ball flight a little bit. And that's kind of what happened. And it's funny, like certain kicks are meant to look a certain way for a certain result, where, you know, some fans will look at a kick and be like, oh, like, why did it look that way? But a lot of it's by design, but particularly like depending on the returner we're playing against, or like for example against Houston, that returner was also really dangerous, and it was one of those things where it was like, all right, just hang time and just no return yards, you know. And then against that Baylor returner, it was let's get the ball on the ground, and you know, if it's kicked right, it should roll the way that we ended up getting it. And so as soon as I saw it hit the ground, I was like, oh, that's going to go. And obviously it did. So
And it did.
yeah.
But between the two of you, we started with this, but you pulled off one of the best fake field goals that we've ever seen, and you pulled off one of the best second snaps ever in a game. I don't know if I've ever seen a second snap in a game, really, as Dalton snapped it to you, and then you passed the ball to Will between your legs, pitched it. I don't know what we even call it. What do you call it when you throw it between your legs to somebody? Is it pitching it? I don't even know. But he was already running at a full speed to his right. Then you guys picked up the first down. So start with you. How hard was that to master, and how long did it take you before you felt, hey, I can hit him with this every single time from a snap?
Yeah, so the idea behind it actually came from Coach Hill, because he coached that at Weber with another Aussie punter who's a good friend of mine. And yeah, Coach Pop leaned on him a lot for that particular fake. And as I said, when we first started, I remember Pop came up to me on Monday and was like, all right, this afternoon we're going to try a new fake. And I'm like, all right, sweet, thanks for letting me know like what we're doing. And we went out there, and I was like, oh, this is going to be bad. And probably the first like 2 weeks it was not great. And then I think for the last maybe 3 weeks or something like that, I don't think we missed it once. So I think that I kind of got to a point where, and Coach Hill helped a lot with this, like the feel of it and knowing like where Will would be like speed wise. And yeah, it's kind of hard. It's kind of weird to talk about, to be honest, but it was like just a feel thing. And I knew as soon as I put it through my legs that it was probably in the right spot.
Did you figure that you'd be on Sports Center? Like, hey, this thing's really working out.
Oh no, I knew. Yeah. Yeah, I was like, if we pull this off, it's gonna definitely be all over. And I remember just getting on my phone after the game, and I was like, oh wow, like.
That's awesome. Now, for a second there, you were thinking of a touchdown pass.
Yeah, did you have the option to throw that, or was that?
Yes.
It was an option.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I was they just teach us how to run an offense. It feels like I'm supposed to read the safety.
Oh, nice.
So the safety, he kind of got cut off by the ref a little bit. So I got the ball, and in practice I threw it every time. Like we didn't really have much of like people coming towards me or people going towards. It was Ethan Erickson.
Yeah.
So I just threw it every time. And every time I'd throw it, Coach Pop is like, remember, it's a run first. Run first.
So I was going to ask,
if it's not there.
Who was coaching you up on what the read is? And who, like, because it seems like
it's Coach
I'm not
Pop.
so sure I want K-Pop or Jay coaching you up on how to make the safety read. I should have been there in practice for you for that one.
Yeah, so, well, I got up and I looked down, I saw the first down, and then I looked over and Ethan's wide open, so we're both open. But then I kind of glanced back and the safety's just beelining it towards Ethan. And sometimes I can usually hit that throw pretty accurately.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's just in the air for a few more seconds than it should be. So not trying to be the guy that gets picked off and then has to go make a tackle. I'd rather just get the first down.
So
and
did you
get Jake back on.
Did you calculate the percentages odds and say, I'm more likely to get the first down if I just run it than throw it, and all that went through your head?
I just heard K-Pop's voice saying, run first. And then saw the first down and got out of there.
You got the job done. Our pleasure to have Will Ferrin and Sam Vander Haar on the Wise Guys. We're live on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and wiseguys.com. Jimmer Fredette's going to join us in a few minutes. A bit later on, baseball coach Trent Pratt, as we our last show of January. Calendar keeps cruising along. Special teams accounted for a pair of punt returns for touchdowns, a pair of kickoff returns for touchdowns. It's a thing to be on special teams. Sometimes it's not. Last year it was. What's the special sauce?
I think you hear people talk about how close our team was last season. I think that's a big piece of it. Where special teams, you get the offense and you get the defense, and they're playing together. There's players from both sides of the ball. When you have as close of a team as we had, it's a lot easier to get buy-in for that. When you get receivers that want to run down punts, you get receivers on kickoff team, or you get safeties that want to go and make a play on kickoff. There's just a lot of buy-in from the group. And it's like Sam talking about that fake punt where we had this fake that we're sitting on for a couple weeks, and the guys are like, let's run it. Let's call it. Let's do it. There's a lot of times where teams are just apprehensive and don't want to do that or don't even want to be on special teams at all. But we had a lot of fun on special teams, and I think our team was so close, which then translates to special teams working efficiently.
Yeah, I think I would agree. Just like, at least for punt unit particularly, it was I got the same reps with the guys, obviously every week leading into the season, and I just think that I could tell pretty early on that there was like a lot of buy-in, and even like, you know, post-practice guys would come up to me and be like, oh, like I'd love to be on like a gunner on punt team, like, you know, can we chat to Coach Pop about it? Like that was a really unique thing for me to experience, at least compared to Pitt. And so it was really cool just to have a lot of guys like wanting to be on punt team, and yeah, I think that as kind of what Will was saying, it's just, it makes the team better if you want guys on your punt and field goal team that want to be there.
Yeah.
I think I would add to that too. Coach Pop does a really good job of showing why special teams matters, how important it is, whether it's like you get an offense starting on the 10-yard line versus the 20-yard line,
right.
The percentage of scoring decreases so much the closer they are to their own end zone. Putting points on the board with field goal, whether it's a kick in the first quarter or the game winner in the fourth quarter, he shows the importance no matter what, and people believe that, and you get a lot more effort when people are understanding of the situation.
And isn't it nice you got a head coach that likes to do stuff?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Fourth down,
Let's run it. Let's do it.
First down to
Yeah.
him.
Let's do it. So, yeah, it's fun. It's a great culture. Will was just out. Dave and I were broadcasting pre- and post-game shows and all that for the basketball game the other night. And you're out on the court with the gang, with the trophy, celebrating the Alamo Bowl win, which was kind of fun. Thunderous applause for that. Spring football starts. We just mentioned this at the start of the thing, just next month.
Yep.
So, and then Portland State's in August. It just seems like you go from the season and then boom, 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 you're right back at it in spring ball, and the season's upon us again. So what are you both going to work on? What's this team got to work on to get better for this next season?
I think for everyone, it's just not being stagnant. It's everyone as a team. There's definitely kind of, I think part of the culture that we've built is this is what we did last year. This is our result. That result wasn't good enough for us. How do we do better? How can I take this lift and go a notch up? How can we take our field goal operation and take it a notch up? There's so much that we can do in, I guess, every position group, but I can just speak towards us, where it's like we got a couple new snappers in. We go out, we kick however often we kick right now. We're detailed about what we're doing. We're trying to get our operation to feel as comfortable as we can for all of us, as quick as we can. And then if we can do that, then things are a lot easier in the fall. So putting in that work now, so later on we're more comfortable into the fall.
What's the operation time you guys want on a field goal? By the time from the snap till you get it off?
We want to be below 1.3.
So 1.3 seconds to snap the ball, get it down, Sam to get it down, and you to have it off of your foot, 1.3.
Yeah.
So foot fans can watch for that. Sam, what about you? Same question. Like, what are you working on, and what do you want to get better at?
Yeah, I think like just some things mechanically that I'm trying to kind of implement just to be a little more effective in different ways. I think it's just, as Will was sort of saying, is I think the worst thing you can do as a specialist is being stagnant no matter how good or bad you go the previous year. So just trying to keep innovating different kicks and different things to try and keep returners on their toes. And I've been blessed because there's so many guys over here who are Australian who kick similar to the way I do. And so, you know, we kind of are in constant dialect of, oh, like, you know, what do you think of this? And it's really cool that I'm able to sort of feed off them as well and watch film and just go out and just implement things for spring ball. And I think last spring ball it was a lot more, I was trying to rush things like process-wise a lot quicker because there was kind of a first impression thing for me because obviously I just transferred in, whereas, you know, this time around it's a lot more comfortable. I'm trying to, you know, prepare for the season as opposed to just, I guess, put my best foot forward, you know, from a first impression standpoint. So it's cool to be a lot more comfortable in that aspect and just get the operation as good as we can on field goal and punt.
Well, here's our last question before we hit you up with 5 and then get you out. Last year, BYU was a surprise story, right? ESPN said, hey, they're going to win 4 games, go 11-2. This year, there won't be the surprise. You'll probably be ranked, what we saw ESPN's preseason has you number 9. That's different than 54 or 13th in the Big 12. So how different does that make the offseason preparation, knowing that everyone knows when BYU is going to get there this time?
I don't think it's much different for us. I don't think last year it was we're picked to win 4 games. Let's go win more than 4 games.
Yeah.
One thing that this team does really well is we take everything day by day. Our strength coach, Coach Phyllis, he talks about, like, right now game day is this lift. Right now game day is this practice. Whatever we're doing, we're going to do it 100%. And that's the mindset that it's being present, and it translates into games where it's not, we want to prove the media wrong or right or whatever it is. It's we're focused on the people in the building, focused on our team, and going into a game, it's not about winning 4.5 or over under 4.5 games. It's about winning every game that we can, winning every play that we can, every one-on-one, making every kick, hitting 42 net on every punt. And then if you can do those things, everything else falls into place. So I don't think it changes from last year to this year. It's just we're focused on the process and we're focused on all the little details of our crafts.
So being the underdog is not a driver?
No, I don't think so. I think particularly at this level, like a lot of the guys, you know, in all positions, it's if you're not wanting to put the best foot forward or I guess be the best that you can, it's probably not the sport you should be playing anyway. So I think a lot of the guys just want to be the best they can, and then that just translates and flows into the team. I think if anything, obviously we had a really good year last year, and you know the talk is, all right, let's go win a national championship, let's go win a national championship, and obviously that's always present no matter how your season goes the year prior. But I think obviously it's maybe subconsciously it's a lot more tangible in the mind of everyone else. So I think if anything, it's just everyone is just a lot more desperate to be as good as we can, as quick as we can, so that we can, you know, potentially win a national championship.
Fantastic.
Love it.
All right, 5 questions
Yeah,
is
here we
presented
go.
by Strategy Square, delivering connection, clarity, and confidence in business and marketing strategies. Owned and operated by a BYU alum who's helping the wise guys conquer the world. You can reach Chantal at strategysquare.co. Everything is led up to this moment.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
my
these are the ones
The
you
pregame
answered
show is over.
just off the top of your heads. You have to give us this. So we'll start with we'll do Will, and then we'll do Sam.
Oh no.
I'm sorry. I'm Big Game Bill. I'm sorry, Big.
Oh,
I'm sorry, Big Game.
okay.
So
It's a lot of names. A lot
So
of
we'll start with your favorite sports movie.
Remember the Titans.
Easy. Okay, Sam.
I don't know if we'll know his favorite sports movie.
Gridiron Gang. I don't know. I watched that semi recently.
Gridiron Gang.
Yeah. So
I've actually seen that one. I like it.
we'll roll with that one.
Okay, Gridiron Gang and Remember the Titans.
Gridiron
Now we'll go in reverse order so that he gets to pick your favorite singer or band.
Dean Lewis, an Australian guy.
Dane Lewis? There's one I have to look up. I don't know Dane Lewis.
Yeah, he's an Australian.
What's his genre? Like, what kind of music is it?
He's kind of like acoustic sort of type deal, I would say. I don't know. Hallie, my wife, and I, who's over there, we just went to a concert in Pittsburgh when I was there, and he was somehow there. So
And he's an Aussie, huh?
he's an Aussie.
You and Keith Urban are my two favorite Australians.
Yeah, he was going to be my choice because you said that
Dave's
earlier.
friend writes for
Yeah.
Keith Urban, so when we go to the things, we get good seats. So okay, that's a new one on me. What about you?
I'd probably say Zach Bryan.
Oh, Zach
Country.
Bryan. You're a country guy.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
all right.
okay. Your favorite? We'll start with you again. Your favorite ice cream? Will?
The what is it? It's Graham Canyon, BYU Creamery.
I have Graham Canyon in my freezer right now.
Oh my goodness!
It is something.
Got introduced to that
special.
one like last year, and
Yeah. What about you?
Mine's
Sam?
probably like a mint chocolate or like a caramel pecan type deal, I think. I don't know.
What is that? Those are two different ice creams.
Mint chocolate or caramel pecan?
They're actually, they're
Can you
not
mix
similar
those
at
all
all.
together? You can mix those together. If you have two
Yeah.
scoops, you can do a caramel pecan and a mint chocolate one.
Mint
so.
chocolate.
Depending on the day, yeah.
Okay.
One of those.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. Your favorite football moment?
I would say Will's field goal.
Will's field goal.
Yeah,
to beat
the
the Utes?
Utah one, yeah. Just because, like, that was individually also, like, a good game for me. So, and obviously we won. That's the reason why it's my favourite moment. But the whole day and the expectation and leading up to it, and then, like, the locker room afterwards, like, for me, like, I guess winning in those moments are ones that I'll remember forever. So, yeah, Will's field goal, I would
So
say.
look,
Utah.
just as a footnote, so when Jake gets tackled back there, he's getting knocked around inside the 10-yard line, and you guys are thinking, there's no way we're even going to get on the field for a field goal, or you're like going, hey, we need a couple of things to happen, and we're out there.
Yeah, it was pretty flat when he got sacked, and I was thinking,
was pretty flat.
I was thinking that the game was over. But then, I think once he hit, might have been Chase over the top. I think in the
Yeah,
middle,
yeah.
I was like, all right, well, we're fine. Because I mean, maybe I'm a little, I guess, biased towards Will, but I was like, as long as we're within like 62, we'll probably be okay. Like, well, at least we'll have a chance to win the game. And so he was right around that area, I think, when he caught the ball, and I'm like, all right, like, we're going to get a shot.
Yeah,
and
another minute left, too, I think.
Well, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I was,
Wow.
after he caught that, I was like, we're going to probably win this game.
I mean, I love Will, but I was hoping for like under 50. I was, but I was like, wow. But I 62. That's some confidence. What about you, Will? Favorite?
I'd have to say the same thing.
Same
It was
moment.
pretty cool. Yeah.
Same moment.
I think after that flag, I think for me it was just cool that we had a chance to go win the game and didn't even register how we would do
Yeah.
that. But it was even better that way. So
Yeah,
It was a pretty amazing moment for everybody that was there. We were doing the post-game and pre-game show, and we were up there on the platform watching. It was a pretty amazing moment.
Yeah, just the atmosphere and all of it was just like, I don't know, because obviously we were down and out for quite a period of time, and then the turn of events changed, and then we went out on the field, and I'm like, oh, if we win this game, it's going to be pandemonium. And so, yeah, that's definitely, like, when I think back on my career, I think that's probably the moment I'll think of.
That's cool.
That's great. All right, now be careful on this one.
This one's, you know what?
We have our studio
Courtney and Hallie,
audience.
come in here and get behind your hubbies on this. So I want people to see you guys, because these are the better halves for Sam and for Will. So this is Courtney
And
right
they
here.
weren't sure this was going to happen, but it's happening.
This is Courtney, and this is Hallie.
How are you?
Hey,
So
Good.
we're glad. And this is what's unique about BYU football too, is that not many programs have this many spouses and family. It's just a family orientation. So we're going to start with Will on this one. What's your favorite thing about your wife?
my favorite thing about my wife, she is very driven. She is an elementary school teacher. So she puts in some nice long days with the kids. When we got married, I was a walk-on at Boise State, and I was paying a good buck for tuition up there. And she came, and we got married. She moved up to Boise and kind of supported for the little bit that we were up there. And she works really hard, and she's very driven and very motivated in everything she does.
Nice. You can tell your favorite thing about Will too if you want.
Answer.
Do you want to do the favorite thing about Will too?
Oh, yeah, sure.
Yeah, or get close to the mic though. So
My favorite thing about Will is that he has a positive attitude about everything. if I have a bad day, because kids are hard to work with, he's always asking me what happened that was good that day. So I think that that's a really good thing, that he's always positive about every scenario.
So, a follow-up question. Do you get more nervous than he before a big kick?
Absolutely.
So when he's lining up to beat the Utes, and
Yeah.
he's already knows he's going to make it, where was your head?
Oh, I was sick to my stomach. I think that there's another wife that has a video of me saying I'm going to throw up. I got both hands on my face. I know deep down that he's going to make it, and I am excited for him, but in that moment, I'm like sweating and super nervous.
That much pressure it's pressure on her too, which I love.
Yeah.
That means you love this guy, which
Yes,
is great.
I do.
So,
That's awesome. Thanks for being here.
so
Okay,
how
over here.
about you, Sam? Your favorite thing about Hallie?
Yeah, I'd say Hallie's very adventurous, and that's probably one of the things that I guess fell in love with her like initially, and then obviously she works really hard with her career, similar to what Will and Courtney was sort of saying. And it was hard because like when I left Pitt, I had a student visa, and then I had to apply for my green card, and so I wasn't able to work or make any money or do any of those sort of things. So I definitely lent on Hallie a lot, which was kind of difficult to do. So I definitely am very blessed to be able to have her by my side. But yeah, she's very adventurous, likes to hike, and it was actually one of the draws to come to Utah. So yeah, I guess that's
All right.
that's probably
Here we go.
Let's hear from
let's hear from Hallie.
Hallie.
The thing I love most about Sam is everything's going to work out. He's very cool, calm, and since the moment we met, we felt like we were on a very uphill battle until we got to BYU, actually. This is where things got really easy, but every step of the way, he was going to make it happen one way or another. Like, every road bump, like, he sees a clear path. Like, he can figure it out. So he's very much my guide in life at this point. Yeah.
That's great. So are you more comfortable when he just catches it and kicks it, or when he takes off on a fake?
I went nuts on that fake. That was amazing. I was actually at home, but it was still amazing.
Because they're trying to tackle him when he's faking it.
I love the fake because
Yeah.
I never got to see him play Aussie rules, but I've gotten quite a good idea of it. And seeing him run, then you can see, a footballer in him. So that was really cool. But I used to get nervous when he was up there, and Sam didn't take offense to it, but was like, "Why don't you bet on me?" And I'm like, "You know what, I do." And actually, I'm like, "I'm done. We're done stressing. We're gonna enjoy it."
That's fantastic.
Do you get nervous so BYU's playing at Wisconsin? Wisconsin's were they number 2 in the country at the time? When BYU played them on the road and upset them on the road.
Yeah, or 3 maybe.
There were 2 or 3 in the country. BYU's playing them on the road. My son Gavin's the holder, and it's the end of the game, and it's a game-winning field goal. I'm like so nervous that he's like, and then the snap comes out and it's low and on his hip. Oof. And he grabs it and he gets it down, and they kick the field goal and they win the game. And then Kalani after the game says the player of the game is Gavin Fowler. He just took a bad snap and got it down, and we won the game with the field goal. But I have to tell you, I thought I was going to throw up because he was holding. Do you get more nervous when he's holding or when he's punting?
100% holding. I actually didn't watch the Utah kick, which I feel sad about in the end, but I was so nervous, and that's something that, is a new skill for him and all that, and these are our great friends, and we don't want to let them down, so.
Yeah, holding is definitely more nerve-wracking than punting. That was the most nervous I've been, and it wasn't close. I remember thinking, if I stuff this up for Will, it's going to be terrible. So,
is it not the most underappreciated exchange from the center to the holder to the kicker? We see it in the NFL as well, and we just think it's automatic. There's nothing automatic about any of that, is there?
Yeah. No, not at all.
On that
Gavin's
kicker-
actually helped us out a lot with
Yeah.
our holding.
yeah, he has. He's been
So-
great. Yeah.
Do you feel like you're ever going to miss, again? You made 16 straight. It's a school record. You made 41 straight point afters. I mean, most people who aren't at where you're at right now can't say that I'm probably not going to miss again, but you haven't missed for so long.
Hey, I've always just taken the mindset of being 1 for 1 every time. And that's about as far ahead as I
Yeah.
think. So if I keep doing that, then hopefully.
There's a theme here too. These guys focus on the moment, but they're both Courtney and Hallie have described that they're just positive things. Both of these guys just think positively. They think about the positive. They don't dwell on what could happen bad. Am I right? That's what makes these guys who they are. That's why they're clutch all the time.
Yeah, I think that at least, well, I'm sure Will's the same, but at least if you go out there and you think, if I miss this punt, what are the fans going to say? If you think anything like that, then you're probably already in trouble, because your brain, I think there's some psychological thing about it that's all your brain registers is, the fan this, the fan that, if you miss.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it's not, I don't know. At least for me, like I try and go out there and I just think I'm thinking about like my process of my swing and things like that. And if I like keep it very narrow focus on that, then the result should really take care of itself. And I guess it's probably similar for.
Well, as you guys are lining up for the field goal against the Utes, we're either doing this post-game show or we're doing this post-game show.
Exactly.
They are two very different post-game shows that it all hinged on whether or not you got the ball down and you made the kick. So you guys were great for us.
Yeah,
so
our show was so much
really
better when you
appreciate
guys
that.
did that.
That was
Let's
awesome.
go.
Hey, thanks for being with us tonight.
Yeah. Hey, one of the reasons BYU is number 9 in the preseason poll is because they know that they have great special teams coming back, and that's a big part of the game. When you have your quarterback coming back, and you've got your kicker coming back, and you've got your punter coming back, then all things are good. So we're glad you guys are back this next year, and we're so glad you spent a little bit of time with us, and we're really glad that Courtney and Hallie spent some time with us
Yeah.
too.
Thanks for
Thanks
coming
so much
in.
for having us.
Thanks for
Thank you
having us.
guys.
Thank you guys. You can just, like, this show's so casual, there's no commercials, you can just go.
Thank you, guys.
Because a guy that maybe you know, Jimmer Fredette's coming on right now.
Oh my
Yeah.
goodness.
So
The Jimmer for Dad.
Yeah,
The
Jimmer's
Jimmer
on this
Fredette.
next.
I think I still say his name every time I shoot a 3. So.
let's bring in the
love it.
Jimmer
Yes.
Fredette. Thank you for watching The Wise Guy.
If you like what you're watching, you can help us out by subscribing and hitting that notification button.